Today we're going to talk about guitar tremolo, and just like you heard in that initial exercise that I just played, tremolo is a very evocative and beautiful guitar technique. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to improve your guitar tremolo and just some tips on smoothness and speed and just generally making it sound more evocative. And now LGM members can download the exercises and also have the play along track to play along with. That can help you a lot with getting that tempo right. So let's get stuck in. So as I mentioned in the introduction, when people hear guitar tremolo, it's something that is very moving and evocative, and non-guitarists, non-musicians will often sort of look at me and go, how did you play that? Because it feels like there's more than one thing happening at the same time. It's almost kind of a trick, because you have usually the first string and sometimes other treble strings playing this repeated note, which gives the guitar a certain sustain, which we don't normally have, and then usually a counter melody, another melody usually played with the thumb. So in that case I've got this kind of arpeggio phrase, and then underneath playing is that tremolo line. So generally speaking, we call the entire thing a tremolo, but by definition, the tremolo part is really just the top line. So basically, how do we do that? Well, the first note is usually the counter melody, and then it's followed by three, in the case of this style of tremolo, which is P-A-M-I, three treble notes. So one bass note followed by three treble notes. So you need to become accustomed with kind of adding those three notes in between each of the melody notes. And it's something that when you're not used to it, it feels kind of uncomfortable, and it's something that you have to practice a lot. So I should just say at the start of this tutorial that you should set your expectations on this being something that you improve over time. You're not likely to just magically be able to play a really smooth and fast tremolo after watching this tutorial. Probably even in a year, it might not even be where you want it to be. For me, after over 40 years of playing, it's starting to get there. But you shouldn't feel discouraged, because I think when you practice it well and you practice it properly and you stay relaxed and you aim for smoothness over speed, I think it can come good fairly quickly. But every person's different, and I don't know what your level is. Have you been playing for like 5-10 years? If you have, and you're already playing a certain amount of intermediate to advanced repertoire, which a lot of people on this channel are, so I feel confident that some of you will benefit from some of these exercises and techniques. So the first exercise we're going to do is just the tremolo on one string, which is going back more towards the traditional tremolo of the violins, the strings, and other instruments. I mean, I don't think tremolo is really that used on, say, wind instrument. I could be wrong about that, but that just wouldn't make sense to me. Maybe it is by some sort of tongue technique or something, but definitely when I think of tremolo in an orchestral sense, I'm thinking about the strings playing very quickly, and that's definitely a certain texture that composers create. So let's just try a one string tremolo. So we're going to go thumb, ring, middle, index, P-A-M-I. Thumb, ring, middle, index. So it's essential that you start by doing that, because I mean, I'm sort of accentuating the thumb a little bit, but I can also probably get that fairly smooth. You can try and accent other notes as well, and that can actually help to smoothen it as well. But I don't want to go into too much sort of rhythm and things like accenting. It's probably just a bit beyond the scope of this tutorial. So enough for you to just start doing that tremolo like that. It's important just to have a really still hand. Just let your fingers do the work, and trying to get it kind of like a wave, I guess is what I would call it. The second thing I would do is just start to move the thumb around to different strings. Things like that. That could really help start to get that tremolo idea going. And the third exercise is slightly different. We're going to go AMIM. And at the same time, we'll add the thumb on the first of the notes. So what it does is it forces you into a slow to medium tempo tremolo, which is probably the best tempo to practice it at. And it kind of evens out the 4 notes amongst these fingers so that when you add the thumb, it'll just slip in to that nice semi-quaver slot. So those are the few little exercises that I would recommend. I would say if you have a metronome, try and practice it somewhere between 80 to say 150 by increments of 10. Just keep increasing it to the point that you feel like you can still play it even. So that little exercise is a really good one just to start with and move on to the others as well. I'd like to also say that smoothness is what you're aiming for, not necessarily speed. The speed will happen if you try and play smoothly, because smoothly also means, in my mind, it means in time, but also consistent, sort of with an even feel. So that's what you're sort of aiming towards, and relaxed, smooth playing. So whatever tempo that feels right for you and you want to push it a little bit, then that's where you have to go. In the next tutorial, we'll be looking at Nightless Night, which is a new tremolo piece that I've written. And so I thought this is really good, a really good way of... So I thought this would be a good precursor to that tutorial, just to get you thinking and working on your tremolo. Usually with a tremolo piece, actually, once you've nailed it to a degree, tremolo playing becomes quite easy in some ways. This part is kind of automatic, and it usually comes down to the left hand, which you'll find in that piece, Nightless Night. A lot of stretches and bar chord work. So generally speaking, it's about managing left hand stretches and strength and getting tired. So a lot of the tremolos that I can think of, there's a lot of bar chords and things like that. So it's usually the left hand that makes a tremolo piece hard, not necessarily the right hand. Because once you've kind of got that technique, it's in your pocket and you can pull it out whenever you need, as long as you keep practicing it. I generally practice tremolo every day. So hope that it helps you with your tremolo journey, and have you got a favorite tremolo piece? I hope you enjoy my piece, which I posted last week, Nightless Night. I did get some good feedback from that, and there are some really beautiful tremolos out there, but if you have one or you want to share some thoughts on it, please leave a comment below. As I mentioned, LGM members can get access to all of the sheet musics that I post, and also the play along tracks, which does help. So jump over to Latin Guitar Mastery if you want to join. Anyway, that's it for me today, so I'll see you next time.